is Joey. Welcome to my channel. I am doing another project with my Potomac treasure box for this month. It was really gorgeous. It was called Violet Meadow, and it's always good, and I always find inspiration in it, but this month particularly so for me, because I don't ever remember getting knotting cord, and we got this beautiful, it looks silky, it's this champagne color of beige, 0.8 millimeter, so it goes through a lot of beads. It is not waxed, it's a nylon cord, and I've taken about 36 inches and I'm going to be working with that. But in the box we also got these lavender 6 millimeter Potomac pearls, which are some of my favorite things. We got these elongated rondelle spacers in an amethyst color, which I love. And this was super exciting for me, these cathedral beads in this absolutely gorgeous color. It's a rather expensive bead cut to do with the table cutting facets around the middle, and it has a Picasso wash on the cathedral part of the bead, and I just love it. And these amethyst AB finished 3 millimeter crystals were just stunning. Like, I just had a blast. And on top of all that, we got this collection of Azuki seed beads in its little house. I just love it. So I used a couple of different colors for my charms and things. And I don't know if I'm going to use all of these charms in my project today, but I was just playing and making them up. So I have a couple of videos where I recently have shown how I do the little daisy charms and how I turn a regular bead into a dangle. And you can even do these, like make your own charm sets, use all the same beads where everything coordinates. So these might go on my bracelet, and I might make more, but I'm going to do the building of the bracelet first. And then for this bracelet, I decided to make my own clasp. I'm going to show you how I did this. This is like the T-bar of a toggle clasp that I made with 18 gauge wire and just fed on some of those little seed beads just for texture. And when I do like an organic handmade clasp like this, I generally make at least 2 of them, sometimes more, and then I'll add the ones I don't use in my stash. But they're so organic and freeform, and the way my spirals turn out, and I hammered this one, they all look a little bit different. So I'll choose the one, you know, that looks the best for my project. So if you've never worked with nylon cord before, I'll show you how you can always do nail polish or super glue to get your end nice and stiff and pointy. And I've already done both of mine, but I just take a little flame, and you could even use your thread zap, and I just melt it. Just, melt it a little bit. If you have a piece of plastic handy, you can always just do that with the plastic. But what I usually do after I've melted it is take either scissors or my flush cutters and just cut it at a really sharp angle, and it just makes a nice stringing experience. And so what I'm going to do to make the toggle or the round part of my clasp is start by stringing on beads that will make a loop, and I'm going to feed these right down to the middle of my cord length. So I'm just going to feed on this. And also, if you know me at all, you know that I love seed beads and I love gold. So I just have these Perma Finish Duracoat Gold, which I highly recommend for anything that's going to touch your skin in metallic seed beads, because that finish, even though it costs a little bit more, it really keeps your things looking the way that they looked when you made them. They don't, that finish keeps the beads from darkening. So I'm just going to create a little loop here that is just the right size for accommodating the little T-bar that I made. So I'm just going to string a few on until I get a loop. So I think that's going to work. So what I'm going to do next is thread these beads right down to the middle of my cord. So just get both ends and just pull those beads right down to the middle. And I'm going to tie my first knot right here. So if you've never done a knotting project before, This is what I love to use. This is a knotting tweezer. It's a tweezer with a really fine tip, and I love my knotting tweezer. I think it's just, you know, for me, I have to have it. But you could also use like a really small plier or anything you have with a small tip. I'm a jewelry toolaholic, so I love those. So I'm just going to make an overhand knot with both my cords, and then I take my knotting tweezer and reach inside the loop, and right where I have gotten a hold of my thread, that is where my knot will land when I pull. So you see why I love a knotting tweezer, because it just really gives you control and it just really gives you beautiful work. So let's see if this is going to work. I think it's going to be okay. That is already so pretty. This beige cord, to me it was like, it's so elegant, and I loved it mixed with the colors of the pearls and the cathedral beads and the check glass. All of it was just so beautiful. So I do know that none of my beads will go through the let me try that again. I know that none of my beads will house 2 strands of this cord. So through the length of my bracelet, I'm going to have to separate my cords as I string. So I'm going to start by putting a cathedral bead on one side. Actually, I'm going to start with more let me put some of my gold seed beads here. I'm going to start with gold. I really like to dot my work with gold. Or, you know, if you are a silver lover or a copper lover, you could also use that. I'm a gold girl, so it just makes me happy. So I'm going to do that. And then from here, you can decide if you just want to let the cord hang out and show, or if you want to put something here. And I'm thinking that maybe I want to put crystals here. Let me just play a little bit. And so once I decide what I'm doing as far as my pattern, then it just goes really fast. Let me try 4 or 5 crystals here. I love it. And I'm going to do another overhand knot here. And same thing, reach inside the loop. And so, you know, by picking up my threads with the knotting tweezer, I can see exactly where my knot is going to land when I pull. Sometimes with double strand, you have to pull them separately. Pull your strands separately. There we go. And when I take the tweezer away, I can use my tweezer even to push my knot into place. And I love the knotting technique like this, especially when the cord color is this beautiful, because you get this textile look in between your beads. You know, it's like you change from the crystal to the metallic to the textile look. And now I'm going to do pearls. So I'm going to come with one of my purple pearls, and this bracelet will spin around, but when I make a bracelet like this, since I have a 6mm bead on this strand, I'm going to come to the opposite one to add my pearl. And I'm going to do the same thing, just flank the pearl with a gold seed bead. Just dotting my pattern with the gold. Can't talk and string. Every now and then too with this you will pick up, like this crystal had a little bit smaller hole, this pearl, just because of the finishes on some of the beads. So I just set those aside so that I don't keep picking them up over and over again. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do my pearl, and I think I'm going to put crystals on this side. So beautiful. And same thing, overhand knot. it's already so gorgeous and there's not much done. And then I just need to decide if I actually want to use this rondelle. It's kind of an elongated rondelle. It's a little bit of an unusual shape. I'm just going to see how it looks on my cord, and then I'll decide. I love the color, but I'm just not sure if I want this shape in my project, so let me just put it on here and see. Oh, you know what? I do like it, but I like the cord being on the, just floating on the outside of the bead. So I think, yeah, I think I'm just gonna do no gold and just like float that rondelle just like that, with one cord in the bead and one cord hanging out on the back side of the bead. This is absolutely so stunning. This combination of beads and this silky looking beige cord, it's just absolutely stunning. And so I'm pretty sure I have my length just perfect, and I am ready to do my little T-bar, and I'll show you how I did that. I just took about 3 to 4 inches of 18 gauge wire. Don't skip the step of warming and straightening just between your fingers. When I get in a rush and I don't go slowly with any kind of wire working, I don't get as good of results. And then I'm going to take my bail making plier and come about in the middle, just kind of find the middle of this. And I'm just going to make a loop just by bringing one wire over to each side, so it looks like that. Just a nice little loop. And then I'm going to go to my, I can have a look now and see, and I think I'm going to trim a little bit off of each side. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And they don't have to be perfect, you know, like you can measure from here to the loop if you want to. But if you've been around here, you know that I rarely measure. I like to just kind of eyeball things. Take a little bit more off that side. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and on one side of my T-bar, I'm going to do my loop going up, and on the other side, I'm going to do it going down just to get, you know, a pretty curvature. So I'm going to start with a really small circle on this side and just close it. I want like a really pretty spiral. I am going to hammer this, so everything that I'm doing here is going to get out of shape anyway with the hammering, but I'm just going to roll this in small increments against my finger and just get it where I want it. Just a little bit of a spiral. That looks good. And I'm going to come to this side and do the same thing, but this time I'm going to go in the opposite direction. If you like a more open spiral, you can do that, but I find that it gets caught on things if I have a really open spiral on a toggle clasp. Just going to spiral this down. As I said, I am going to hammer this, so I'm not worrying too much about the way that anything is landing. And I'm just going to give this a little bend and give this a little bend. So here's where I was saying it's very organic. No two of mine ever come out alike, so I don't mind making a couple of them for a project. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to just make a little space here and put my bench block, and I'm going to use my ball peen hammer for this. It's not a good idea to try to hammer where wire crosses over itself, so I'm going to hang the loop off the edge of my bench block. Lower your volume or fast forward if you don't like the pounding, but honestly it doesn't take much. Although this is 18 gauge wire, so a little bit more than, you know, 20 gauge And I'm just going to flatten it both sides, side to side. And then I'm going to take my ball end of my hammer and just put some artisan dents in this. And do both sides. And you see that I'm spreading out and, you know, kind of ruining the shape that I just put in there, but that's okay. Even though you change the molecules in the wire when you hammer, you still can go back and make some adjustments after you've hammered. It's a little bit more brittle after you've hammered, so you want to be careful not to over hammer. But I'm not hitting very hard. I'm just like basically doing a little texture. So cute already. And then I'm just going to come and play with my shape. I'm pretty happy with that. And then I was playing with colored wire. So I have this kind of a minty or a turquoise green. I made a little pearl charm with that wire, and I was playing with that instead of gold wire. But in the end, I really went back to the gold for this project at least. I mean, it's pretty, but for this project, I'm going to stick with my gold wire and set my colored wire aside for another project. So this is 20 gauge wire, and that's what you see embellished on this one. And so I'm going to come to one side of my little toggle, my T-bar that I just made, and just get a couple wraps in there as tight as I can. It's really fine gauge wire, so I can use my pliers to help me pull a little bit. And just want to get a couple of wraps, and then I'm going to just embellish this with some of those pretty seed beads. The colors just matched so well. Come right here and trim that little tail and tuck it really well around my flattened wire. It's only 26 gauge wire, so you don't need to be too aggressive. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a few of the seed beads that I used in this charm. Seed beads went everywhere. I cleaned them up very quickly. And then I'm just going to embellish by feeding a seed bead onto this 26 gauge wire down to my wraps. And you don't even have to do this part, but I thought it was pretty. And then I'm just going to do a couple of wraps. And I did, like I did this on the bottom, but I'm going to do like top and bottom of my T-bar. And then as I go, I just use my pliers to tighten things. And I'm just going to do that the length. It only takes a few. I think I fit 5 or 6 on this other little T-bar. Just feed the seed bead on, kind of let it rest. Oops, it wants to get away. Kind of let it rest on top and get a couple wraps. And try to get my wraps in tightly, and then go back with my pliers if I need to straighten anything up. I'm going to wrap back in the other direction now, just because I want to add some more seed beads. So I'm just going to like wrap on top of my wraps. As I said, this is extremely organic. No two of mine ever turn out alike, and it's really fun because you can't mess it up. You really can't, you know, like there's not a right or wrong. Whatever you do, as long as you like the look of it, is right. And if you don't, you know, if you don't like the way it looks, you could always unwrap or cut this away and, you know, go again or leave it plain. I always like to play with my designs because every time I do something like this, I get better, I learn. So That's just me. I guess I'm not afraid to experiment. Just want to get this seed bead. I don't want to, you have to be careful with pliers on seed beads because they're little glass beads, but I just want to move it so that it's sitting a little bit better on the bar here. I had to take a little pause because the man is working in my backyard and it's really noisy, but I'm going to try to finish this. So I have these gorgeous Athena cast 29 karat gold plated ball head pins, and I just took the leftover beads, a crystal, my last cathedral bead, and just one of those small seed beads that I used to embellish my T-bar and also to make this little daisy. And I'm going to use one of my pearls. So for my charms on this bracelet, I just have a little bit of everything dangling that was also used in the body of the piece. And I'm just going to put a simple loop in there. I like to attach everything with jump rings. I just like the movement of it. And that brings me to how I'm going to finish this. Not going to add any more beads on my tails of my stringing material. I think I'm going to knot this off and then make knot it off and put some beater's glue on it, and then attach my little T-bar to that. I don't know why I can't talk. I think because I'm rushing, because I hear the blower outside and it's really noisy, and I'm going to have to pause again if my yard man comes onto my patio with the blower. Okay, so I've knotted over this jump ring, and I put a little of my GS Hypo cement all around the knot. And it's a good idea not to cut your end cords until it's pretty dry. So I did let it sit and dry a little bit, and I'm going to come right here and snip, and right here and snip, and save my cord like this, because if you want to do knotted earrings, that's the perfect amount. So don't waste anything. And then I'm going to add my little T-bar with another jump ring right into that one. So a couple of jump rings on a closure can make a bracelet really easy to open and close. So I'm going to do that and add my little handmade, organic, artisan little T-bar. Oh my goodness, this bracelet is so stunning. Every little addition that I make makes it more stunning. So now you see why I added the extra jump ring, so you can turn sideways to get the closure bar in the bracelet. And now I'm going to add in my charms, and I'm going to use another one of my gold-filled diamond cut jump rings, but that is an assortment, and so this is the next size up, and I don't even remember what sizes are in there, but there are 3, and I really like that. So I'm going to open this and put all 3 charms on one jump ring. These are such high quality. They're just really I just really love them. So I'm going to put the longer charm in the middle, and the pearl on this side, and the little daisy on the opposite side. And let me open this a little bit wider, and I think I'm going to add it here. I could also go I could go here, because I finished my pattern with another one of those little rondelles. Nice thing about adding charms on a jump ring is when I wear it, if I don't like the way they're dangling, then I can always, move the jump ring to another location. So many of you have seen my little trick, and I'll just say this again because it's really good. If you put your jump ring, whether it's a knotted cord bracelet or a chain bracelet, if you put your jump ring around the whole circumference of your piece, your charms will move 360 degrees. No matter which way you pick up your bracelet to put it on, your charms are never stuck or kinked, and they just flow around your bracelet. So as everybody knows, you cannot clasp a bracelet when the camera is rolling, but I'm going to try. I don't know why that is so hard. The bracelet clasp gods just don't want you to be filmed putting your bracelet on. But that's why, if you can see, that's why I put an extra little jump ring so that I can turn my T-bar sideways to, you know, get it in there, and then it grabs into that loop that I made really nicely. This bracelet is absolutely stunning. It's petite. It just screams spring. It is so obviously not machine made, with all the little artisan elements, even the little daisy flowers, and using a pearl as a dangle without a head pin. I absolutely love this bracelet, and I applaud the Potomac beads team because they did a fabulous job with this month's box. It was just all my favorite things. So I will put links in the description box to the Potomac Beads website. They are fabulous for seed beads. They have the Permafinish Duracoat seed beads. They have check glass. They have a whole section for crystals, so you can, you know, subscribe to get the treasure box or the kit edition, which is another wonderful curated box that they do. But you can also just shop the website. You will find every shape crystal and all kinds of sizes and shapes of seed beads. And the Athena cast line is there. It's just really wonderful. So, and I will put pictures up at the end, and I'll just give you a little sneak peek. I was playing with colored wire for the spring, and I did this little earring design with 2 gauges and colors of craft wire, and I think I'll do an upcoming video on how I did these earrings. I was literally just playing and just making something for myself, and I just thought they were so sweet, and there are a few fun little techniques in this. So subscribe to my channel, tap the bell notification, and then when I come back with another design, you will not miss it. I thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, friends.